Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. When you hear the name Albert Einstein, what's the first thing that pops into your head? A wild-haired genius, right? The ultimate symbol of a thinker and a daring intellect. But what if I told you that a lot of what we think we know about him is actually just myth? For decades, these stories have shaped our image of the man, but today we're going to set the record straight. Let's start with a classic. Einstein was bad at math as a child. We've all heard this one. It's often used to make us feel better about our own struggles in school. You've probably seen those old photos of him as a kid, looking a bit lost in thought with a book. They seem to support the story, right? Well, the truth is, this myth couldn't be more wrong. In reality, young Albert was a mathematical prodigy. He had mastered calculus before he was even 12 years old and had a natural, exceptional talent with numbers. So where did this rumor come from? It mostly boils down to a mix-up in grading systems when his records were translated from German, combined with some inaccurate biographical information that just stuck. So no, he wasn't doodling in the margins of his math homework because he was lost. He was probably just bored. Next up is the famous aha moment. Pop culture loves to show Einstein waking up one morning, a light bulb flashing above his head as he dramatically scribbles EMC2 on a chalkboard. It's a great story, but it's pure fiction. The world's most famous equation didn't just appear in a flash of inspiration. It was the culmination of years, literally years, of relentless work, intense study, countless failed attempts, and deep theoretical discussions with his peers. This groundbreaking formula was built piece by piece through a long and often frustrating process of scientific inquiry. There was no single moment of discovery, but rather a slow, steady burn of intellectual effort. This leads us to another popular myth. Einstein was a failing student who got poor grades. This one is often tied to the bad at math story. People claim he was a terrible student who struggled in school. The truth? Not even close. While it's true he wasn't a fan of the rigid authoritarian teaching methods of his time, and occasionally clashed with his professors, he absolutely excelled in the subjects that mattered to him, especially physics and mathematics. He consistently earned top marks in these areas. The idea that he was a failure in school is just another piece of fiction that makes for a good story but is not based in reality. He wasn't a bad student. He was just a brilliant mind who didn't fit neatly into the conventional educational box. How about this one? Einstein had a photographic memory. It makes sense, right? A genius of his caliber must have been able to recall every single piece of information he ever read. But surprise, his memory was actually quite average. He was known to be forgetful about everyday things, and he didn't rely on rote memorization. So what was his secret? It wasn't his ability to remember things, but his incredible ability to visualize them. Einstein's genius lay in his unique power to create thought experiments, to see complex abstract concepts in his mind's eye and understand the deep logical connections between them. His brain wasn't a hard drive. It was a powerful simulation engine. Finally, there's the myth of Einstein, the purely academic genius, a man who lived only for physics and formulas. We picture him locked away in a dusty office, surrounded by books, completely detached from the real world. But this image is incredibly one-dimensional. Albert Einstein was a complex and passionate person with a rich life outside of science. He was an accomplished violinist and found great joy and inspiration in music, particularly Mozart and Bach. He was also deeply engaged in the world around him, speaking out on political issues, advocating for civil rights, and caring deeply about social justice. These other passions weren't just hobbies, they fueled his creativity and gave him the unique perspective that informed his scientific breakthroughs. So let's recap. The ideas that Einstein was bad at math, had a sudden revelation for ERMC2, failed in school, had a perfect memory, or was just a one-dimensional academic are all myths. The real story is far more interesting. It shows us that true genius isn't about perfect grades or a flawless memory. It's about relentless curiosity, a bold vision, and the courage to think differently from everyone else. And in that regard, Albert Einstein remains one of the greatest and most inspiring examples of all time. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed busting these myths with me, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. We'll see you in the next one.